Okay, so this morning we have a 2010 Chrysler 300. It was here a couple of months ago and we did some repairs on the ABS system, traction control system, by replacing a speed sensor on the left rear and the speed sensor and reluctor on the right rear. So apparently the ABS light is back on, traction control light is back on. So we're going to connect the scanner and have a look at what's causing the problem today. So as I mentioned, I've scanned this before, so we're going to look for the vehicle. Should be able to find it in the history. There it is. Activate that vehicle. And I'll just have a look at the record. And right rear wheel speed and left rear wheel speed sensors were there before. So we're going to have a look today at what we've got. Click on scanner. And I always like to do a complete vehicle scan. It auto ID'd the vehicle. Display fitted systems. And let's do a code scan. I'm doing a pre-scan. So this scan will take, I don't know, maybe a minute, minute and a half. Has an issue with the AC in the engine, AC control circuit open. Maybe the compressor is disconnected because the system's low on refrigerant or something. Implausible left front wheel speed signal. So these codes are U codes. That means they're networked, and that's networked information from the well, in this case, engine temperature signal received and implausible left front wheel speed signal. Left front wheel speed sensor circuit, left front wheel speed comparative performance, left front tone wheel performance, left front wheel pressure phase monitoring stored. Wonder if it's a passive tire pressure monitoring system that's using the wheel speed sensor resolution. It could be. And it's storing a report now. CAN bus code, CAN bus code, CAN bus code, implausible data from ABS, electronic shift, CAN bus active, recirculation door travel range too large. Well, we got a number of codes to worry with, but the one that's causing the ABS and traction control lights to be on is this left front wheel speed sensor circuit. So we'll have to put it up on the hoist and do a visual inspection to start with. So there's the left front speed sensor. I've checked the wheel bearing and it doesn't have any play in it. Now there is a reluctor inside here on the CV shaft, if I'm not mistaken, very similar to the rear. I see this little clip was out of the place here, but that shouldn't have affected it, and the wiring looks like it's not damaged, but it's hard to tell. I'm wondering if this could have the same problem as the right rear had, where the speed sensor reluctor is likely part or on the end of the CV shaft, and it's actually failed. Now taking this speed sensor out of here might be difficult because this is cast iron and it rusts, but then again sometimes they design them so that they do come out. I'm going to see if I have a speed sensor that I can simply plug in place of this one and see if the problem goes away, as well as look at data. Let's have a look at data first. So I'm going to have a look at data before we start manipulating this speed sensor to confirm that it in fact is dead. Left front, right front. So I'm going to turn the wheels, and because it's in park, both wheels are going to spin one in the opposite direction, so I should get speed signals from both of these. Well, as you can see, got a speed signal from the right front because it was turning backwards, and no speed signal from the left front. So now we'll have a look at the voltage on the wires, or maybe see if I've got another sensor I can simply plug in. So I got this universal breakout harness installed in here, but the pins were too small to go into the pins in the molded connector there. You can't backpin this connector because it's molded. There it is down there. So key on, engine off. I've got 11.2 volts on that sensor. So there's a voltage supply there from the ABS module. So I'm starting to lean towards a defective sensor. Let's see what code sets when we clear the code and see if it comes back as an electrical fault or a mechanical fault. So I've cleared the codes. Click continue. Key is on, engine's not running, and no codes are present. So I don't think it's an electrical fault. I think it's a mechanical fault. I tried to take the speed sensor out of the cast knuckle and I can't. I think it's a mechanical failure of the reluctor in there. But unfortunately you can't see it unless you pull the axle shaft out. I wonder if I can undo the axle nut and push it in enough to see the reluctor. Yes, let's try that. So I disconnected the speed sensor connector. Let's see if a code sets. Yes, so it's setting a fault code for a left front wheel speed sensor circuit with it unplugged, yet it doesn't set the code with it plugged in. So again, I'm leaning towards a reluctor failure. So if you take the axle nut off and put a pressing tool in here, you can actually get in here and actually see the speed sensor reluctor. You push the axle shaft in, you can see it. Now this reluctor looks like it's perfectly intact. Turn the wheel. I got a little bit of pressure up against the CV shaft. So the reluctor is there. So I guess it's the wheel speed sensor that's failed. The reluctor is definitely on the end of the CV shaft. It isn't spinning free. It's not loose in there. This is the actual reluctor right here. Appears to be still intact. So we're going to change the wheel speed sensor. So I managed to get that speed sensor out of the knuckle by just penetrating fluid and wiggling it. It's actually not as bad because it's got these ribs, so it's got room for rust to build up. I've cleaned the mounting hole with a wire brush, and I see that I pushed the axle shaft inboard, and you can actually see the reluctor, and it looks fine. So I pretty much need a wheel speed sensor. Being Sunday, nobody's got one in stock. That's open today. So we're going to have to wait until we get a new part and put it in and see if that resolves the issue. So I picked up a new speed sensor today, 531662 from Napa, and it looks correct, so we're going to go ahead and put it in and see if that fixes the problem. So there's the new speed sensor installed. It's pretty easy to put in. Route the wiring harness so that it's in the clips and installed into the steering knuckle. Now we'll boot up the scan tool and have a look at the data and see if we've got a speed signal from this side. So we're back connected to the vehicle. I'm going to go straight into the ABS. Check for codes. I can't remember if I cleared the codes. That was yesterday. So there's still a code there. We're going to clear it. Should be good now. And we'll go back and recheck for codes. Don't have any. Now we'll load data and bring up the left front and the right front speed sensors, and I'll go turn the wheels. Well, that's a positive thing. So we should be good to go.